Hey, did you know that as of 2022, there are more than 12 million women-owned businesses, and that 1 in 3 small businesses are owned by mothers? And did you also know that 54% of mothers with children under the age of 18 are interested in starting their own business? And that is driven by a desire for flexibility, work-life balance, and the ability to work from home. Hey, friend, in this episode, we are going to dig into some of the problems that mompreneurs face, as well as the solutions to deal with those problems. So grab a pen and paper. I'm sure you're going to be blessed by this. Are you tired of a life of mediocrity, barely surviving the month and always feeling overwhelmed and stretched? Do you dream of brighter days where you show up calm and present for your loved ones, never again sacrificing family time for overtime? What would it be like if you had the time, money, and peace so you could make the greatest impact and live the most fulfilling life? If this sounds good to you, you're going to love this podcast. My name is Melanie Borbo, and I'm a wife, a mom of young adults. I'm an educational assistant by day and a mind and money mentor by night. I'm super excited to help you be the boss of your time and your money so that you can make the impact you've been called to make. Do you think it's too hard as a mom to start a business even though you have a burning desire to do so? Hey, I got a cool story for you. Her name is Victoria. She's a lady inside of our community. And if you want to hear of someone kind of rising above, this lady's story is amazing because she is a wife to an active duty military guy. So he's gone a lot, and she has 3 sons, 2 of which are special needs. So she is home a lot by herself with her kids, and she still managed to make enough money that they could have bought their new house with cash, but they chose to not do that because they wanted to, obviously have the money to furnish it and do all of that stuff. So, but she has earned, I think, $400,000 in, I forget, it was 11 months, I think, or something like that. Now, that's not everybody's story, but she had a lot of challenges and she met them head on and she rose above them. And now she is a huge success story inside of our community. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of inspiration before we dive into the meat of our episode today. And if you want to know how she got that kind of success, it's really just a step-by-step blueprint that if you follow letter by letter, you will have the same kind of, you will have results. Maybe not the same kind of results as her, but you could have that same kind of results. So just go to dailypaidblessings.com, drop in your email. You'll get a couple of videos that will explain how it all works. And then you'll be on my email list, and then I'll keep you up to date on all the cool things that are happening. And again, if it's not for you, no pressure. You just unsubscribe and that's it, right? No, there's no cost or no risk to learning about it for yourself. So if that's something you want to look at, I look forward to seeing you there. It's kind of interesting today. The reason I wanted to do this particular episode is because I'm a part of this do it anyway challenge, right? It's kind of getting us to step out and do things that we might have otherwise had excuses for. So I did my day 3, which was, what is your ideal day? We were supposed to record a video of what was our ideal day, share it, right? And then, so I do that, which is fine. That was super fun, like right on. And then I'm on one of our mentoring calls and I'm listening to him talk about having a happy list, which is writing down all the things that make you happy. And I was kind of giggling because I'm thinking, oh, there's a theme for today, right? There's a theme that I'm supposed to be paying attention to today. And then it hit me that I thought, yeah, it's one thing for me to do this and for one thing for me to, obviously be happy and reach the goals I want to reach and all of those things. But what hit me even more was, what about all the moms that feel hopeless? What about all the moms that have a burning desire to make an impact on some level in the lives of their children, their families, their communities, the world? Like, what about those women who they feel so hopeless because, they're stuck in a hard financial place or a hard, just a hard life space, and they don't have the encouragement or the hope to get beyond that. It sort of broke my heart. And I thought, no, I want to come on here and I want to share some of these trials and but also give you the solutions so that you can have the hope and the encouragement to go make the impact that I know you've been called to make. So did you know that the rise in online businesses has been fueled by digital platforms, right? It makes it so much easier for moms to start and scale a business from home. So there could be things like in e-commerce, digital marketing, online coaching, like all kinds of things. And this trend is actually expected to continue growing as more moms seek out entrepreneurial opportunities where they can prioritize their family while still making an income. This is a really big deal. But with that comes some challenges. Okay. So I want to just touch on those briefly, and then I want to give you solutions to them as well. So time management, right? Juggling family, household duties, and business can be actually really overwhelming. And it's hard to find uninterrupted time for work when you're trying to manage kids and a home life. I totally get that, right? My very first business that I started was a network marketing business, and that was when my kids were small. And so I remember that, trying to juggle, trying to find time to do it, trying to, how do I make it all work? And so that, we're going to dig into that. I've got a couple things, but I think I'm going to go through these first, and then I'm going to circle around and we're going to give you some solutions to them, because the next one is mom guilt, right? Many moms feel super guilty about dividing their time between their business and their kids. I was there too, man. I felt I just felt sick when I had to think about leaving my kids to work on any level, whether business or leaving for a job. But yet when I was working, I felt guilty that I wasn't earning money to help the family finances. And so I totally get that it can be really hard to find that balance, right? And to give yourself permission to do either one, right? To be with the kids or to make money. So we're going to talk about that. The next issue that can be a problem for some women is that they have limited support, meaning their husbands may not be on board with them starting a business, or they like the idea of them making money, but they also expect them to still do everything the way that they always did when they, might have been at home or whatever. Or maybe, you might be a mom that has got a job but that job isn't paying enough, or you want to be able to get out of that job and you want to be able to stay home with your kids. So now you have a job, a family, and a business. And so sometimes that can be hard on spouses because they don't see the vision maybe sometimes. And sometimes it can be hard to find childcare, like all of that. I understand all of that stuff as well. And then there's also the financial pressure, because when we are moms, right, our money tends to go towards what the kids need, what the house needs, that kind of thing. And so sometimes the thought of putting any kind of financial outlay out to start a business can be quite frightening. So we're going to touch on that as well. And then there's the tech overwhelm. I mean, wow, who wants to deal with tech issues? I totally get that. I stopped myself from doing a lot of things for a long time in my life because I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I just don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And I sometimes still do that. Like, I'll see someone do something really cool, do a cool video, or like I have not yet learned how to record a video at the same time I'm recording my podcast, because then I could put it on my YouTube channel at the same time, but now I have to separate them, which takes more time. So again, I feel your pain. I absolutely feel your pain. However, there are solutions. And the last one that I want to touch on is self-doubt and isolation, because this is a big one. Many moms struggle with self-confidence. And so they feel like, how could they possibly help someone to do something if they feel like they aren't succeeding themselves, or they aren't achieving anything themselves, right? Like, that's kind of common for moms. And then moms also feel very isolated sometimes. That isolation is, all you do is talk to kids all day. All you do is, it can be really challenging to think about getting out and doing something different or talking to people. So those are some of the struggles. So let's dig into some of these just briefly. So time management. I did a podcast number 14, I believe. Just one of my later ones is all about time management for busy moms, and it's how to use time blocking. So this is a really cool system where you get your calendar set out, you know what your goals are, you know what your activities that you have to do, you know the things that are non-negotiable in your day, so you have to put those things into your calendar first, and then you fill in the rest of the things with the other things that need to get done. And it is amazing when you use a system like that, where you actually color code and time block things. It is amazing how much stuff you can get done. So if you want to know, if you want to dig deeper into that, just go listen to that. I'll list that link to that particular episode in my show notes, and you can check that out. Now, what about the guilt? Like I say, I so remember this, the mom guilt, I'm guilty when I'm doing it. I'm guilty when I'm not doing it. And you know what I would say to that is a couple of things. Sit down with your family, right? And this is kind of go in the same vein as limited support, right? If you sit down and have a conversation with your kids, if they're big enough, and with your husband, or maybe even caregivers like parents or siblings or, whatever, cousins, whatever. If you sit down with them and share the vision that you have, right? Share the vision that you have and show them how you're going to fit it into your day. And that would be really cool. If you have a totally color-coded, time-blocked calendar, you can now show them, look, this is when this is going to happen, but these are the things, this is when all the other things are going to happen. And when they can see that vision, it's easier, I think, for them to jump on board, and to kind of get behind you and be like, yeah, let's do this. I can totally see this. Let's do this. And then financial pressure. Yeah. I totally hear you. When I started this particular business with the digital marketing program that I am with, we had to sell things. Like I went through our CCAN and found things that I hadn't used in a long time, things that I could sell. And I'm like, okay, we're going to sell this thing. I'm going to sell this thing so that I have money to do what I want to do. So, that is an option. The other thing is with our program and the payment processors that I have set up, we actually have some payment plans available. And so again, if this is something that you want to look at and to kind of dig deeper into this program inside the digital growth community, then there's payment plans, which you can do something really low. And the cool thing, what I really loved about this is that there's no monthly overhead costs to running this business, because you pay for the program one time, lifetime. You have a one-time fee of your website and your email. That's your emails, your website, that's the whole deal. So you have that. And then you have no other fees, because what we're taught is how to use social media actually to market this business. Now, I love podcasting. It's just that's my happy place. And so I kind of stepped out of the traditional teaching that she's teaching, and I chose to do that, knowing that I might kind of be forging ahead on my own a little bit, because she doesn't teach us this. But I just love to podcast. So anyway, so there's ways of advertising for free, marketing for free, and then there's no monthly overhead, which I love, because in other businesses that I've actually had to shut down a couple of businesses because I didn't have the money to keep paying for the platforms that I had set up. And so to not have any overhead monthly is a beautiful thing, beautiful, beautiful thing. And then there's the tech thing. Tech overwhelm is, I have so been there, when you're just staring at the screen like, what in the world do I do with this? But another thing that I really love about what we're doing here in this program is that it's very low tech. Like everything is already set up. You just have to punch in, your own domain, your own payment processors. And it's all videos explaining every step of the way, every step, all the way. And so that is the most amazing thing, because you don't have to stress over that. And okay, get this. Here's the other thing. I didn't do this, but there is people inside the community that are vetted by our mentor, and they charge a one-time fee for tech setup, meaning they will set up. And there's also tech Zooms all the time that you can jump on to get questions answered. So you don't even have to worry about tech if that's a big concern of yours. And then the self-doubt and isolation one. Again, this is a big one. I I just did another podcast about this, about, that if we don't believe, it's really hard to receive. So we have to get good at changing the story that we're telling ourselves. And that whole thing about self-doubting and the imposter syndrome and that whole kind of category is a mindset thing. And that is something that we all have to struggle against and we all have to work to overcome. But there's ways and means of doing that. You don't have to stay stuck in, in that mindset, and here's the other thing that's really cool. Everybody starts at the beginning. When they start an online business, everybody starts at the beginning. I mean, some people are a little bit further ahead, but only because they started at the beginning in some other business. So at some point, everybody has to start at ground zero. And that's the cool thing, is that we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay stuck there. And so when we know that we're having stinking thinking, there are things that we can do to change that. Like, I talk about this book all the time. It's called Winning the War of Your Mind by Craig Groeschel. Really, really, really good book. He talks all about changing your mind and how to just adopt the mindset of a winner, of a successful person, right? So mindset is really huge. And I'm going to tell you, the more that you work on improving your mindset, the more every other thing in your life, every area in your life is going to improve as well. Because mindset affects everything. It affects how we parent. It affects what kind of a spouse we are. It affects our money. It affects how healthy or unhealthy we are. Like, it affects everything. And so this is a really big one to put time and energy into. Even right now, if you have not started a business yet, you should still be starting to work on your mindset, because it's really, it's just a game changer. It just changes so many things, because we don't catch ourselves. Like, I also am a mental health coach, and I have another podcast called Ditching Depression for Busy Moms, which I could put a link in the show notes for that as well. And, but because I work with a lot of women that have mental health issues, and you would be absolutely blown away by how many times depression or anxiety is caused by the thoughts that we think. So I want to, I could go off on this for days, this whole, what we tell ourselves and the stories that we tell ourselves. And maybe that's a podcast all on its own. Maybe it is, because we need to get really good at, catching those thoughts, those negative thoughts, and casting them out. The Bible tells us that we don't we are told we can cast down our imaginations. We can take dominion over our thoughts. And so this whole self-doubt and imposter thing, absolutely, we can take dominion of it and cast it out. We do not have to keep it. So, I hope that this podcast really inspires you to know that either A, you have started a business, but you're suffering with all these things and you just feel like, thrown in the towel or whatever. You don't know what to do. Or you've never started, but you have that desire to start. I pray that either one of those, that you find some inspiration and motivation inside of this episode. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be back again next week with a new episode. And until then, my friend, take care and God bless. Have you been blessed by this episode? Has it touched you or inspired you or taught you something? If so, would you take 30 seconds, and write a written review? Not only does it warm our heart to hear from you, but it also lets us know that we're giving you what you need. And it also helps other people find the podcast that may need this kind of information as well. And remember, beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Take care, my friend, and God bless.